If I say pollinator-friendly plants, you probably have a picture in your mind of a perennial garden filled with flowers and native plants, but I want to give you a little bit of a different perspective right now, because I bet you probably weren't thinking about a holly that's native to Asia, right? I've actually got a couple of different hollies here that we can talk about because they're both very important food sources for pollinators in the early season. And neither one of them are native to the US. This one here is Nellie Stevens holly, and it's a cross between an Asian holly and an English holly. So this is a completely man-made hybrid, and it is so pollinator friendly that I often will get complaints from customers that tell me that it's got way too many bees and wasps on it, and it's right up by their front porch, and they get so many on it that you'll oftentimes hear it buzzing as you walk by, and it kind of scares people at times. The other one over here is the Burford holly, or dwarf Burford holly, and it also gets really covered up in pollinators. This one is a hybrid of the Chinese holly. Both of these bloom these little white flowers in the early spring, and they do it whenever a lot of your perennials haven't quite woken up yet or not blooming yet. And so because they're a nectar-rich flower, you will see all kinds of pollinators all over these plants because there's not a lot of other food sources out there for them right now. And I have been sitting here watching this and seen at least a dozen different species of both native and non-native pollinators on these plants. So of course we've got a lot of the European honeybees, which is probably the majority of what we're seeing on these plants, but there are other native bee species such as the sweat bees, the masonry bees, and things like that. Even leafcutter bees have been coming around. And then also I've been seeing a lot of the native wasp species and some really cool fly species that you don't normally see. Well, and moths and butterflies too. There's a moth right there kind of fighting its way through the wind. So yeah, for sure, plant those native perennials, plant those pollinator-friendly flowers, but also if you're needing some evergreen landscape shrubs and you live in the South, some of these options can be really valuable additions to the landscape, but also help out the pollinators at the same time during the early spring.